Hello and good morning. So today's request comes from a kind of interesting place. It's actually based off of the marketing between GTA and Verdict Day. Now, this may seem a little bit strange as far as setups go, but somebody pointed out a little bit ago that apparently some world-class intellect over and from had decided, hey, you know what? 5 did reasonably well. Got our people excited. Uh, you know, 4 Answer did pretty well. I have an idea. Let's go ahead and just basically make an expansion that tries to do the same thing 4 Answer did for 5. And then let's go ahead and release it pretty much at the same time as GTA 5. Just friggin' biggest release ever. Yeah, that'll go well. So, obviously they got curb stomped into pretty much oblivion. And, yeah, so that's kind of where we are right now. But, long story short, the request was to see a fight between GTA and Verdict Day in the AI arena. So, due to the fact that GTA 5, functionally speaking, tried to claim all the best parts of previous characters, I just went and got the better previous characters for these different ones. Trevor was the only truly unique one, and that's why he's here. So we've got the Grove here, that's CJ from San Andreas, the Vercetti, this is Tommy from Vice City, and then, Trevor from 5. Just figured he doesn't need his own cool name, he's just Trevor. This is what he does here in his pink dress. Figured that's probably the most fitting look for him. So over here, this is based off the way that I always had CJ set up, so is black and green, he's got kind of gold weapons. I figured more than likely if that was an option, he would have had them. So his whole shtick is kind of based off just having a lot of different weapons. So he's got the pistol that he always uses in cutscenes on the left, kind of that deagle-looking thing. You got the assault rifle that he's more than likely using for more than half the game on the right with additional ammo, because you could store a crap ton. The warhead missiles based off the various heavy weapons you could get, and then I got the sort of SMG packed into the core, we'll go ahead and say. His movement isn't terribly fast, but he's got a lot of weapons. I've got the Vercetti here. Largely a ground-based AC. I had to run in order... He does a lot of running in order to get the concept of that goofy run that he does. I remember using the minigun type of thing quite a bit, and just heavy rifles in general, so got the Gatling gun on the right. I remember sniping a fair bit, so we got that on the left, and I do remember the horrible RC sections. So we got the slow-moving missiles and extension missiles to kind of help back those up, as well as floating contact mines in the inside of it. And then we've got the Trevor here, and I could have gone a lot of ways with this, flamethrowers or different electric weapons, but figured whatever. This guy needs to be close and brutal, so he's extremely close range, heavy rockets, the heaviest that he can pop on there, and a dagger blade in a dress, because that's just what he frickin' does. Now, this is actually the second time that I'm doing this. The first time there was stuff that happened in the middle of it. So in that one, what ended up happening was, well, to describe the AC-5 team, I would basically have Blue Magnolia, Flamefly, and, the Lone Mercenary, which is basically the, kind of the title card guy from, Verdict Day. And yeah, it wound up being Vercetti against Magnolia. She ended up winning. Trevor against the Lone Merc. He ended up winning. The Lone Merc ended up winning, oddly enough. I was not expecting that one because of how much firepower this thing has. And then never actually got to the one that was Grove versus Flamefly. It was actually probably going to be the last one for that one. But no, it didn't actually end up happening. Like I said, stuff just sort of came up. So, we got that updated here, so let's get these wheels spinning then. So, first things first, looks like we're gonna have Flamefly versus... Why is this not updating? Okay, for some reason the wheel is just like stuck and not updating. Okay, whatever, we're just gonna use the one it got stuck on. So, Flamefly versus Grove. Let's just go ahead and start off with that. I'd assume Grove has to win this. Flamefly is meant as a joke AC. We'll see how this goes. If you're wondering about the music, it's not actually... Well, I guess it's also in 4-Answer, but this is the Verdict Day version. Called The Mother Will Rises Again. This is basically the boss music for the zombie Mother Will. And honestly, that's one of the things I friggin' loved about Verdict Day. Like, I know that there was a whole thing of people didn't like the 4-Answer references, but... Dude, the thing is a giant fortress city that's coming back as a zombie. What is not to like about that? Alright, so both these guys aren't terribly fast. Flamefly... yeah. He's Flamefly. He's just kind of iffy. He's actually from 5, not from Verdict Day, but whatever, 5th gen. By the way, there's also stealth extensions, or stealth pods inside the Grove here. He's got the horrible stealth sections. You know, you gotta have those in there. Alright, so I'm making use of all those extra guns. Yeah, this is gonna be ludicrously one-sided. This right here, this is a pretty good analog for how that whole, you know, Verdict Day versus GTA 5 thing actually went. It looked a little bit like this. So, I'm just gonna go ahead and leave that at 1 round. Doesn't need a 2 out of 3. I think it's safe to say that Flamefly can't even fight back. So, Flamefly, gone. Anyway, moving on. I figured Blue Magnolia is kind of overpowered, Flamefly is underpowered, whatever, it'll balance out. So let's... Okay, so it looks like we got Vercetti against Magnolia. Alright. Guess we're repeating this one from last time. Pretty sure Magnolia's gonna end up winning it again, but whatever. Let's give it a go. That is not the menu I meant to click into. And we've got the invisibility glitch again. Wonderful. Although, roughly speaking, I think I know what's actually causing it. I think it's just parts being edited and then quickly exiting out and going to test. I think that's possibly what's doing it. Because I think that kind of rapid menu switching is what screwed up the sprites at one time, too. Not the sprites, but the models and their locations and caused them to mash together and everything. Alright. Looks like Vice City's getting an early lead here. But I'm not sure if you can keep that going. I mean, he is so far. He's keeping up, but it's still really close. Yeah, no, there we go. She just turned it around. That's the thing. He can keep up, but he's probably not going to be doing a whole lot of getting ahead unless he uses his inside parts, which he doesn't seem to want to do. Although it still was very close. Still very close. And back to Tomato. Speaking of the inside parts, so yeah, that's supposed to signify his, the whole section with the friggin' god-awful RC stuff. I don't know what they were thinking with that. It was just bad. It was just plain bad in general. Oh, didn't actually mean to spin this yet. Yeah, there we go. She's definitely winning it again. Yeah, he can... like I was saying earlier, he can situationally win, but it's unlikely, given his loadout, that he'd be able to. And there we go. Gotta get that goofy run in there. Battle of the mascots and all that. Love these mascot fights. They don't have to be scientific at all. Alright, so that leaves each team with 2. Alright. Looks like... Okay, Mercmobile versus Trevor. Like last time. Sorry for accidentally making you disappear. Standard accidental trip to Russia, I assume. Sorry you got disappeared, please come again. Yeah, that is, it looks like that is the glitch. So I guess it loads up models when when it's in that menu, and if I exit out fast enough, if it's using that model, maybe it causes it to bug out and disappear? I don't know. Maybe something like that. Maybe somebody can figure out how to use that somehow to cause OPI to exist. If only. If only. Alright, this thing is closer up here. Yeah, there we go. Murky waters. Alright, so, last time around, I was kind of theorizing that Trevor would have to be the winner here just because, you know, his raw firepower, frankly. But I forgot how quick the Mercmobile actually is. So the thing is actually surprisingly good at dodging despite its heftiness. And it's also very defensive, and also tends to just be very good at avoiding damage in general. Yeah, that one's a shield, machine gun, can use the chemical gun in Verdict Day. And then the sniper cannons replaced with large rockets, since there are no sniper cannons. But in general, the Trevor here is just relying on raw firepower, and it seems like accuracy is its main problem, but that's why it tries to get close and just mash. And it's doing far better this time, though. Basically what I was theorizing is that this thing here would plink everything off of Trevor's armor, and then just pretty much have to time it out, but he was hit both times. He actually did end up winning last time. Okay, so he might be turning it around here. Yeah, so Trevor's out of ranged stuff, but he still has contact bombs, he still has a blade. And as with what happened one of the previous times, he had basically gotten close, used a blade, and then the contact bombs right afterwards, which are just crazy strong if done in that order. So that's pretty much a guaranteed overheat, just shuts down the other guy, and also, you know, leaves them without half their AP, more or less. But doesn't seem to want to do that. Although this is the same map where he pulled it off last time, so maybe. Just maybe. I really like this thing. On paper, it's not exactly a practical AC, Lone Mercenary AC, I mean. But it's kind of got the same thing that the 3rd gen starter has, where there's just something about it that's satisfying. Like, it's satisfying in a janky way. Like, it's not necessarily good, but it's got stuff. Whatever that stuff is, you know? So like, there's just enough there that you're thinking, okay, you know, maybe, I can see this working. So, just for the sake of ammunition and all that, the Mercmobile here does have a blade on its left side. I forget if that's actually something it had in Verdict Day or not, but it's there, you know. It's programmed to just throw that thing off at a certain point. And so there we go. It looks like he's won it again. And Trevor here barely even fought back. I mean, I guess fair enough, why not? Okay. So it looks like that just leaves CJ then. Alright, so it looks like Blue Maggie versus CJ then. First off, let's back out of that. Yep. And tomato. This could go either way, really. Because the Grove's got a lot of overheat potential. It's also got the ECM pods, which, honestly, both of which should completely mess up Magnolia. Let's see, though. She's got a pretty crappy radar, but it still might be able to outdo the ECM pods. It's unclear if it will. I would think the Mercmobile's got a better chance of it. But I'm going to say CJ has the advantage here. He's definitely taking some heat damage, though, though it's not enough to really burn him. He's wasting one of his best weapons there. EOs are gone. Wasted them all on a wall. Yeah, this is looking pretty strongly towards Magnolia. Although she might have a hard time keeping the energy up to actually use her rifle. The problem with her is just her stuff was so bulky, it was hard for her to actually keep the energy going while still maintaining some movement. And I figured that was fine when putting her together initially, largely because when I remember playing Verdict Day, she had this whole strategy of just like suddenly boost around a bunch of times and nail you with the friggin' Sawa, and then disappear again. Honestly, okay, it's kind of a funny thing because there were two parts in 5th gen and in Verdict Day. Like in 5th gen, it was the train fight, or just 5. I don't know why I'm saying 5th gen. Whatever. In 5, there was the train fight, and in Verdict Day, it was the Magnolia fight. Both of which really gave me reminders of the Darktooth fight from Twisted Metal 2, where it's just like this urban environment with this friggin' crazy strong thing appearing out of nowhere. It's like, okay, fight this thing. Also, guess what? It'll basically shoot you through walls. Okay, so looks like first one went to Maggie. Give this another go. Might actually be kind of a solid win on their end. Who knows? Actually, come to think that he didn't really shoot through walls. He just kind of appeared to sometimes. But yeah, if you haven't played Twisted Metal 2, there was this thing where it's kind of like a Chinatown type setting, but they have it set up in different zones, and one is all these subway tunnels, which I don't know, you know, if you don't avoid the subway, the thing just hits you and you lose a bunch of your health. Or they have another area that's like several cities, and it looks just like an area out of Verdict Day. Honestly, I could even say that it was inspired by that if I didn't know better. And then they have this other kind of waterfront area, which again also really reminds me of that one city map in Verdict Day. So they have all of this stuff just kind of mashed together. Oh crap, he's really winning it this time. But they have all this stuff mashed together, and you go through these different zones, and odds are you're going to end up doing this thing where you're trying to escape from Darktooth, which is basically a modified version of one of the hidden cars you can get. And it's just this double-decker bus with guns on it. And the thing just appears out of nowhere. It's like, hi, I'm just here bouncing all over the walls and completely wrecking your day. The thing's horrifying. Man, Twisted Metal 2 is awesome. So yeah, final round between these two. So yeah, I would honestly, both of them gave me huge reminders of that. Just in both map design and the thing you're fighting and all that. I'm totally making AC based off Darktooth. I did that in 4 Answer back in the day. I made ACs based off both Darktooth and Sweet Tooth from Twisted Metal 4, or Twisted Metal Black rather, in which he basically it's this ice cream truck that converts into a mech. It's awesome. And it's a shame that series didn't just keep doing what it did. Because, like, up till Black, it was awesome, and then, I guess, Head On was pretty awesome, too. But then they kind of just decided to go all realistic with it for some reason. And my brother was saying it was pretty fun, but not the same. Which is exactly what the demo felt like. Just, it felt like it was trying to be Mad Max or something. Alright, well, there we go. I guess CJ just turned it around, so that leaves a last fight between Verdict Day's poster boy and, as far as I'm concerned, the best GTA. This is probably gonna get friggin' uploaded in a week with current upload speeds. Don't know why, but Comcast has been having so many problems lately. Had one thing uploading since like yesterday, it's like 38%. Oh well. Oh, this one's not going to count, by the way. Oh, okay, it almost didn't count. That, by the way, is I like to call it the vertical launch glitch. Sometimes whoever's in position 1 will just decide to fly straight out of the map. No idea. It doesn't seem to be any particular AI pattern that does it, because I've seen all kinds do it. It seems, I guess, maybe more prevalent towards longer range builds, but I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Possibly if they're trying to escape while going vertically and being chased by something aggressively, that's what could be doing it. I don't know. Also, this right here is a good example of how fights in Verdict usually end up going if you're not doing hit-and-run stuff. Like, I'm gonna twitch side to side a little bit, and everyone's gonna keep hitting anyway. And we're just gonna keep mashing, and hopefully one person's got more effective weapons than the other. I'm pretty darn certain that this is gonna end up going to CJ. He's friggin' strong. Well, that is just a dang shame. Although, I guess it could be a good metaphor for what ended up happening anyway. Like, here's all these good ideas and everything else. Oh wait, we should not have introduced them anywhere nearby this other thing, and now we got curb stomped. Truth be told, I like to think the Verdict Day would have been a lot better if it was just DLC. I've heard a lot of people complaining about the differences between the two, and if they were just one game, you know, it would have been a completely different story. And specifically, there's a lot of complaints I've heard about the usage of cover in each one, which I can see where they're coming from. I actually got in trouble with the Gen 5 community once for giving opinions on that while not playing them both that much. And, you know, I still pop them in from time to time, but frankly, it's just the fact that it's on a PS3, and, well, that thing got replaced with one of those SNES Classic things a while ago. So that's just kind of sitting in its spot. Because they used the same chords, and I didn't feel like redoing all the stuff there. So it's just kind of in the same spot. Oh well. Let's see if the Mercmobile can pull it back twice in a row, though. Because he's suddenly winning. Come on, Mercmobile, do it. Do it! No, so, if it was released as a DLC, feels like that would have solved a lot of problems. Definitely would have solved the problem about them being released way too close to each other and competing with each other. And a bunch of the, you know, fan-favorite maps getting killed off pretty unceremoniously one day. So it feels like it would have fixed that. Would have allowed for both the better features of both. I mean, everyone would have bought it regardless that ended up buying it, if you ask me, but... oh well. Guess they figured it was just too big of a thing. It was just a real shame. Oh well, hopefully that decision didn't end up killing the franchise. Right, that was a pretty ace shot right there. You just immediately switched to the rockets and popped him in the face. Come on. Come on, mascot. Freaking nameless lone merc. Even though San Andreas is by far my favorite GTA. And hopefully he's not wasting too many of them here. You're not exactly going to run him out of ammo. And all you're trying to do. I think it's too far for him to pull it back at this point. Oh. Nailed him. Come on, do it again. Nice. Pull it back, pull it back, pull it back. Definitely know what she said. Come on. Yeah, I don't think you can do it. Too far gone. Definitely too far gone. If he had maybe 2,000 remaining right now, he dropped the shield at in about 3 seconds. Through one, dropping the shield. Yeah, he didn't even get a chance to drop the shield. Well, that's a shame. He had a pretty solid chance there. What happens if that thing fights Lucifer? Or not that, actually. Where the hell is it? There we go. What if he came in for the save, huh? So, been looking at one thing that, well, I was hoping would end up working. There was a project to make a PS3 emulator, which if that's the case, I probably will end up trying to do Verdict Day stuff down the line, especially trying to do some AI Arena stuff, because it's got, you know, some proper stuff going in that regard, but... There we go. There we go. That's looking about as painful as appropriate. If only, right? If only. Oh well, here's hoping that somehow AC6 will come along, transcend time and space, and I guess fix the community, I don't know. Anyways, let me know if you have any other requests, and see you next time.